I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item we have is the approval of the agenda as presented. Is there any additions, changes, modifications? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Make a motion.
A motion, I'm going to second that. All those in favor? Public comments. Beth Hauser's our first one.
Warren was first. He's on the agenda.
He's on the agenda.
I didn't know that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Good evening. Got one for you. One for you. And then I have one for Pam. Chris, do you want to hold on to it? Okay, perfect. Thank you. I am here in support of the Perry County Economic Development Corporation, otherwise known as the PCDC. I understand that you've reviewed all the applications for the economic development and have chosen to go with RJL Solutions out of Indianapolis. First, I would like to give you each the information, which I just did, about Spencer County, which also employs RJL for their economic development. I'm not going to go through all those pages because, as you saw, it's a thick packet, but I will hit some high points. First of all, just in the last couple of weeks, RJL has suggested Spencer County form a not-for-profit organization, and the Indiana Secretary of State has officially accepted the Articles of Incorporation of the Spencer County Economic Development Authority, formed to serve as the leading economic development organization in the county. The newly formed SCEDA will work to facilitate job creation, promote growth and development, and collaborate with government entities, private stakeholders, and organizations on behalf of the county. So my question, I know you're not Spencer County, but my question is, isn't that what RJL should be doing with the $144,000 that they're charging Spencer County? I mean, that is exactly economic development. And is that what they're planning on doing with Perry County? They're going to say, okay, Perry County, now you need to form a 13-person board and get a economic development team together, which we already have. It appears that what they are doing, their main job, is they are a watchdog for the Ready 1 and Ready 2 funding. You can see it in the articles that I have there. They want to make sure that Spencer County doesn't lose their Ready funding. And an example was that I think there was two different housing complexes that were coming in. There was a Back Nine housing, and there was also a Orchard housing. Back Nine apparently didn't get all their information in time. They lost their funding. It all went to Orchard, which now is in, my understanding, is possibly in a lawsuit because they did that. Okay, so, and I wrote all this down because I can't remember it all, so I apologize if I read off this. And my question is, isn't that what our ARP funding committee was for? And that was a volunteer, not a paid board. And Spencer County is paying RJL to be a watchdog for the ARP funds. Okay, Spencer County has yet to get an economic plan from RJL. Their proposal was February of 2024. It's been over a year. They say they will probably have it in May. They crafted a survey in November through December to a select area. They garnered a 2% population response. Typical survey response is 20 to 30%. That is your typical response on a survey, which is extremely low. But 2% is a failed survey. So why is this so low? Is it because it's a farm out of Indianapolis that nobody knows? I don't know. With all this being said, I've got questions. It appears to me that on the agreement with Perry County, they're starting at ground zero and recreating the wheel, which the PCDC has already done. Why would we spend $96,000 to have them do this? I can see that they're quite a bit less than the PCDC. But what are we getting for these dollars? Is there a year two cost? I didn't find one. Why would we spend $96,000 to have them do this? Year one is phase 1 through 4. How much is phase 5, which is the actual execution of the plan? So we're not even executing a plan in the first year. We're just compiling everything, which the PCDC already has. Have each of you sat down with the PCDC board and asked them for what you want and you're not getting it? Is that why we're going with a different direction? I don't know. You know, I've never heard that. I mean, my idea is you sit down with each one of those board members and you say, hey, you're not need. Can you do this? And I know you sent out a survey, blew all of them out of the water. Hire out-of-town professionals that don't have skin in the game compared to local people that live here, work here, eat here, and play here. All 3 of the PCDC employees live in Perry County, and they have a passion for our county, a great passion. RJL is a for-profit company. PCDC is a not-for-profit company. The $160,000 or $180,000, I may be a little off on that, for 3 people working that office is not a large sum at all for the work that they have done or they do. On average, and I know, I just divided it out by 3, that's $53,000 per person per year, total of the work that those 3 people do. How many hours per week will RJL spend on Perry County? Because I can guarantee you they won't spend the hours that these 3 people do. Guarantee it, because they are in Indianapolis and they have multiple clients and they will not spend the time on Perry County that the PCDC spends. Again, does this even include any of their benefits? Does the PCDC get benefits? Do they have insurance? Do they have to pay for their own insurance? If they have to take insurance out of that salary, that's really not much compared to RJL. RJL is a for-profit corporation, as I said before, with multiple people, multiple clients to work with. With the PCDC, their concentration is on one, Perry County. That's it. They are concentrating on Perry County. Why would we want to share our resources with others, even neighboring counties? Is there a conflict of interest with Spencer County having RJL? I would think there would be, because in the Spencer County proposal, which I have attached for you guys to read, they even mentioned Ohio River is one of their biggest assets. So which part of the Ohio River are they going to promote? Spencer County or Perry County? Whichever one probably lines their pockets a little better. I appreciate your time in this discussion. I would urge you to read this, to talk to your constituents, ask them what they want. I think the majority would be to keep it local. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next one up is Megan Fritchley.
You guys. I'm Megan Fritchley, 217 Ninth Street, Tell City. I don't know my address. We've moved too much. When was the contract signed with RJL? What date?
This is public comment. We're not into public debate, so whatever you want to state, that's what we do at these meetings. It's not a
Well, Randy, I've emailed you though, and I can't get a response for public records. So this is a public meeting, that's my next step,
We refer everything to the county attorney,
which he won't answer either.
then you need to bring it because we.
Do I need an
hire him to
attorney?
Make sure, we want to make sure everything is done properly.
So you can't tell me when the contract was signed.
This is public comment, so you should make your statement.
So you are refusing to tell me when $96,000 contract was signed for RJL? I'm asking. Yes?
And this is public comment where you should make a statement.
You
We're not gonna sit here and back and
Randy.
forth on a question here. And if you can't
I'm
make
a
a public
citizen.
statement, then we can schedule it sometime where you can come in.
Are you
provide us
seeing
the
this?
documentation.
Now what? Now what? Anybody? Okay. This is illegal for us to not be able to get information about county tax dollars that you guys are spending. Do you get that? That is illegal, Randy. I can't even get a response. And when I come face to face, you refuse to answer me. Public comments doesn't mean you can't talk to me. It doesn't mean you can't respond. Okay, fine. So, we're cutting local jobs.
Wow.
We're cutting local jobs and giving it to, these are my public comments, RJL, who has a chief executive officer, a chief operating officer, an executive assistant to him, a VP of government relations, strategic initiatives, senior director of business development, senior director of public affairs, senior director of marketing, senior director of planning, senior director of operations, director of grant management, director of strategic planning, an associate planner, a technical writer, data, and these are all jobs by this company in Indianapolis. The list goes on. Here are their pictures on their website. My point is they've asked for $96,000 and the contract is signed. So all of the signatures that we have, which is over 200, to do PCDC is absolutely futile. So we just spent all of that time with the community wanting to back PCDC. And guess what? It's already signed. So PCDC already has analyzed workforce availability, housing trends, industry needs, identified growth sectors, business clusters with the highest potential. PCDC has explored industry-specific factors. PCDC has very successful surveys. PCDC has stakeholder, it's a little bit kind of iffy with that because there's so many different things that go into it because it's a nonprofit. They already have it. They already have data-driven analysis of county opportunities and challenges. They have fostering strong relationships with local industries. They have all of the local industries backing. They have a list of priority sectors and industries for potential focus. And they have a non-for-profit. They already have development strategic projects, this is all RJL. This is all what they offer. PCDC already does this, all of it. And we are paying $96,000 to do that. So they have a brand, travel, marketing, website, grants. We have a brand new hotel coming in, which would support PCDC. I spoke to him. And all of the entertainment in our county who partners with PCDC. So I didn't think that it would be announced tonight that the contract was already signed because it wasn't to the public. So if you'd like to refute that after I shut up, please feel free. And I just want to say, regardless of how you feel about me, I'm a citizen. You can hate me, you can whatever, I don't really care. But you have to answer my questions. You have to. It doesn't, and my next step is hiring an attorney. That's my next step. So, those are my comments. I thank you for all the hard work that you guys did to get those signatures, but it was pointless. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Nathan Hill, Region 15.
Good evening.
Good evening, Nathan. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
that here. So I am making my rounds to all 6 of our counties to give updates on what we worked on in 2024. The first 2 pages, we give a 10-year history of the per capita fees received from each county and the grant funds received. That takes it through 2024, so you can see each one of the counties. And the last 2 pages is Perry County specifically. So that lays out all the grants since 2014. And then on the back page is 2024 specifically. We have the EDA planning grant. That is a regional grant, but the per capita fee helps to match that. And then also the NDOT, as our role as the rural or regional planning organization for this region. We receive a planning grant from NDOT as well. And so your per capita fee matches that. And then we also wrote the grant for the Perry County Hospital Clearance Project for the city of Tell City. That was awarded in 2024. So this reflects the actual year that the grants were funded, but you have to keep in mind that usually we're working at least 6 months up to a year, maybe even more, to develop these projects. And then once they get funded on the back end, it's a year, 2, 3 years. So I've noted the ones that were ongoing in 2024, the Pier project for the port, that was funded in 21. We're still going through all the hoops, trying to get through that. Also, the RAISE grant that was funded, that made 2023 a very good year with $11.5 million funded then. Again, that's just another one that we're trying to go through that federal process before it actually gets underway. It's taking much longer than we thought it would. The EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant, that was awarded to Indiana 15, but we are still looking for sites to do phase 1 and phase 2 environmental assessments, if you know of any. I went ahead and put the first grant for 2025 that was funded, Tell City's owner-occupied rehab grant, at $350,000. We're very pleased with that. Tell City's the first community that we're doing now, since that program got switched over to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. We are also administering the READY funds on behalf of Indiana First. So that is keeping us busy with the number of projects here in Perry County. We have a number of projects that we're working on, trying to find some funding for, of course, Antro and water expansion throughout the county. That seems to be the biggest challenge.
How's it going?
Yeah, we're trying. So, yeah.
It's not the main easy task.
It's not.
But it's something that needs to be done.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
We're trying to find ways to get that done. Along with that, kind of partnered with that, is the Troy Township water improvements. They have some needs there. Just added on after I printed these, we're going to be working with Tell City on some water improvements. Camilton Gym, the historic preservation, we've kept that on there. That's still a desire of the city, just finding a way for that. Camilton also has some water improvements that we're looking at. The port always seems to have some improvements that are needed. And I didn't add it on here, but the town of Troy as well has some water improvements and other things that we're going to be working with them on. So we are staying busy. We're here to support you in any way that we can, and hope to continue doing that into the future. As long as the funding is there, we'll go after it. So
Nathan, are you administering the 2025 owner-occupied rehab for Tell City?
yes,
That's through Region 15.
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we wrote that application, got that funded. And so part of the grant administration goes beyond just the typical, keeping track of the financials and sending in the reports. We're actually administering. And so we're collecting the applications from the individual homeowners. The
So
city
they apply
scores them.
directly to you for
Well,
these funds?
it runs through the city. So the
Okay.
city is doing the scoring of the homeowner applications, but then we take it from there.
So if a
And-
person had an interest, they would work with Tell City, and in turn, they would
Yeah,
send the
but
documents.
we're also there to answer questions and, yeah. So it's going a little bit more than what we usually do on a grant, where we're actually administering the program as a whole.
The Rome Courthouse Historic Preservation.
Yeah, that's one that we've had on the list for a while. I know they're doing some work on their own. But
Yeah, they got some ARP money, them
Yeah.
matching,
Yeah.
that match on that was really good.
Yeah, that was excellent because
Yeah.
some, trying to go after some of the historic preservation grants, it just
Mhm.
gets harder. There's certain things, but we're keeping that on our list in case something comes up that they might benefit from.
Well, I want to say our investment with your group, the lowest I see here is $10,735. And that's an annual payment for the entire county to get you to work for the county. And I see from 2021, 6.6 million, 2.1 million for 22, 11.7 million for 23, and your lowball year was 518,000 was for 24. So our investment of, $12,460 in 2024 has brought substantial money back to our community. So we appreciate your effort.
We're proud of the work that we've done, and we'll keep at it.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
All right. Thank you.
Next one up is Greg Hendershot on this alarm system. So you bought back up with you?
I brought backup. I was outnumbered last time. Dan is with TSD Technologies. They're the ones that handle our fire alarm system, and the guy that works with me on our dialer back here. So I brought him along to answer some questions that you may have. Last time we were discussing about whether we needed certain equipment because of the way that thing dials out. Currently, it's using the old POTS lines and stuff like that, and we're losing communication with the monitoring company. So we need to make some changes, and that's where we end up leaving off last time.
That's that bird nest me and you looked at after
Yes.
the meeting last time.
So my question is,
Responsible for that.
You're not responsible, okay.
when you
I wouldn't
say
either.
POTS, are you talking about the old copper lines?
Yes.
So where do we switch from copper to fiber?
Currently, coming out of the dialer, we go over to that old
Mhm.
nest that goes to two little old phone boxes there.
Yep.
Then out of there, it goes over to the copper lines, the old AT&T lines, I'm guessing, because they've
Right.
been there forever. And then it goes from there into our fiber, and then goes out of the building, and I don't know whether it goes back into fiber and copper between here and Security Central or not.
But something's causing it to.
I don't,
Go ahead.
that would be a PSC question, but I think they're all fiber
No,
coming out of Tell City unless,
we've
So-
got,
So what's happened, or what's happening, unfortunately, telephony technology is up here, and fire alarm technology has not kept up. And a lot of your fire alarm systems, a lot of your dialers are looking for plain old telephone lines, 48 to 52, tip ring voltage, battery voltage, if you will. That is the old, remember when you had the walls on the phone?
I got you.
Yeah, that's the old,
Yeah.
and those lines are probably few and far between. Now, they may look like they are POTS lines, but like you said, somewhere they're converting to copper to fiber, and then back from fiber to copper. And the old DACs, digital alarm communicator transmitters, get corrupt data in there. So your dialer sends a 24-hour test every day. It checks the phone lines, because it's fire alarm, it's a life safety system. It makes sure that voltage is there. But when it sends that 24-hour test, it sometimes does, the signal doesn't go through. We ran into this Southeast DuBois County, Forest Park High School. Same. They use PSCO as well, and they were running into the same problems, Greg, as it intermittently goes into trouble, not sending a good signal. And what we had to do is we had to install this little module that I quoted. And what it does is you plug the dialer, the phone lines into this module, okay? And it dummies up and makes the panel happy. It thinks it's got tip and ring voltage there. But on the other end of that module, it plugs into your network, and it's got a little cellular, like your cell phone module in there. So it's on a network constantly 24/7. So it could be Verizon or AT&T. Those are your two options with this module. And then we could put cellular as primary, and then Ethernet, we'd have to get through, to your switch back there, which is right across from where the equipment is. So it's just running an Ethernet cable over and plugging that in. But then you'll have primary backup, which is what you need because you have buildings. So
So it rolls either direction, whatever you feel like is the best for
right,
primary.
and you could
secondary,
actually,
whatever.
yeah. And I don't know if Verizon or AT&T is a better signal, but that can be programmed in when we do it. We can see which
But then
one's got a better
when you
signal.
buy a card for this device,
So this device is about yay big, about the
Like a
size of a
cell
cell phone.
Yeah.
It would mount inside there, the dialer. It would get power from the dialer, and boom, we program it, take it off, and get going for it.
so would it
It'll
have
be-
like a telephone number, or, I mean, what is the
It will actually-
reoccurring cost of this thing?
So to back up, I mean, when you guys had AT&T and Teresa was here, I think you guys were paying like $1,400 a year, just to give you guys some relevance on. When we came in and Greg came in and Teresa was here, we switched that over to our central station monitoring, and it's like maybe $3.25 a year, $325 a year. Okay. There is an alarm net that has to be involved. They will have this on the network that will increase the price to, I put on $420 a year annually. 400.
Over and above what we're paying currently?
No, that will be your.
That would be our
price.
total.
Would be it.
So you're currently at like 325 or something.
So there's
Do you
no
have the
monthly
number?
phone line, they're $325.
And then you won't have to have those two phone lines.
So
Those can.
That would be
You've got
eliminated.
copies of the two phone lines we currently have.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that would be eliminated,
It
correct?
would be eliminated. And honestly,
but see those phone lines through the way we have our fiber set up, we preserved all those 547 numbers because that's not a PSC number. And so those things are little or no cost. That's all in our program for our phone
and
system.
that's fine.
So we've got several numbers we preserve so that
They're
We always
only
have
they're only like
5%.
$1 something, they're not much.
Right.
All two.
Either it's that or someone down the road is doing something, and it could be a mile away or 2 miles away. You never know, but it just beeps intermittently
And we don't really know where the air code's coming from, whether it's back in the back room or whether it's 2 miles down the road somewhere.
well, sometimes I don't know if it's a phone line trouble that you're having or if it's failing communicating to central station. I mean, it could be any of those that could be causing the communication.
It actually tripped since the last time that we met and talked about it. It's gone down. I don't think it was down more than 2 or 3 hours, but it was down for a
And then
while.
it clears on its own.
Yeah,
So,
until it
Then it just attempts to
re-
reconnect.
reestablished at some point. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a life safety system. If you want something when you're not here, that's going to be dependable.
That's, I mean, we
Yeah,
want
we
it
have
to
to have
work.
it.
I mean, that's critical, but at the same time, as long as whatever we're doing actually gets the job done. So we don't find, because I think this is, the dialer's only 2 years old.
Yeah, it's
The
not very old.
dialer's only 2 years old. Well, I don't know.
You put that in
I don't know.
within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it's a relatively modern.
We're still
device.
using the dialer though.
Right.
It's going to dump the account information into this module and it's just going to translate it. So a different way. It's just going to allow us to communicate a different way.
Is that going to be on you know, like right now, so in other words, you're gonna take the primary line and take it through the sewer device also? No, the primary is gonna continue to go as is now.
Primary is, I'm not using those lines at all.
They won't use those primary lines.
That RJ45 jacks, oh, I'm sorry, RJ31X jacks are not gonna be used at all. I'm gonna unplug those that are going into those jacks and I'm gonna plug them into my module. Okay, and then it's gonna communicate, like I said, cellular or Ethernet, or through your gateway.
So it would be,
Still having the two phone lines. We'll have the cellular connection and the Ethernet connection. We won't be using the phone lines.
It'll actually communicate quicker. You'll get a quicker response.
And
It won't be
what's our guarantee on this?
guaranteed.
That it's not gonna trip out?
I have, so I did.
So you coming back to fix it, that's my point, to make it, in the event we trip out for some unknown reason, this won't be a futile.
I'll be honest with you.
It's part of our system.
I can pull up Forest Parks High School's dialer right now on my phone, and he could actually monitor it from his phone. I haven't told you that, Greg, but yeah, I can see what's going on.
We're not paying you extra for that. Just wanna let you know.
well, that's
There's
all
not gonna
right.
be an AT&T phone line we have for a cellular phone line that we have to have for this.
This
What,
price
I don't know
covers all
what's
of
the
it,
best,
right?
better services
Price
out of that
covers, yeah.
cost.
This price covers all of it.
Now, the one thing I will have to do, and I don't have the numbers, you guys have already paid for a year with that. I'll have to probably cancel that account, set up a new account, and then prorate it for the rest of this year. So it won't be whatever that difference is.
325 and the 420.
Yeah.
So it'll be a slightly less amount, because we used the old system for first quarter.
Yes.
whatever.
Will we get any refund back from what we have now for that year?
Well, he'll apply that towards.
Oh, you will apply it
Yeah.
for this,
For
okay.
the other costs.
And then when it renews, that'll be an annual fee.
I'll have that for the budget for next year.
I mean, we gotta have something reliable. and
Well, it needs to
dependable.
work.
Yeah, that's what I mean, it has to work.
I get more calls from Security Central that's down than I do that there's a problem here.
Okay,
That's a good thing.
I mean, when,
Well, I don't want the problem.
I know you don't want the calls, but it's a good thing.
I don't like that call 2:00 in the morning, wake me up saying that they got a communication failure.
but I mean, it's
You're an old guy.
It's
you're
good for everything.
Not till 3.
it's technology moving forward, so.
Let me just move corporation around to pay this. and
I'd
that.
pay it out of utilities until we run short, is what I'm thinking. We gotta have a motion here. I'd entertain a motion to.
I make a motion to
And
go
I'll
with
second that.
TSD Technologies.
All those in favor? Thank you.
Just gonna take work, Greg, I'll take care of all of
You got everything you need? Okay. Thank you.
And I don't think we're gonna.
That's great. Will that red's nest still be back there
Well,
on the wall?
I talked with
We paid.
Jarbo about that, and if when we're all done with that, he's talked about removing a lot of that stuff back there that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks dangerous. Okay.
Next item up, we have Alan Malone, Sheriff.
I'm here on behalf of Citizen Police Academy and everybody. They're going to do the Run for the Cops, not from the cops, but Run for the Cops again this year. So last year, you allowed us to, we're going to close this street down with your permission in front of the detention center. That's where we're going to start. It's going to end at Tell City Police Department, but I just want your all's permission to help. We're going to shut those down just while we're starting the race, and then as soon as it's done, it'll be back open.
Worked well last year.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I watched it. Seemed fine.
You can run in it,
Whenever you run it.
deal. But just want your permission to do that, so we'll start in front of the detention
I'll make a
center.
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Warren Taylor, you're the next guy up.
Well, I hope you all got the pictures I sent you.
Yes.
This old cooler, we're just needing to get rid of it. It's taking up space. Mr. Hauser could use the space at the armory for EMA equipment, and there's no sense for it to sit there. It's been there 3 years, it hasn't worked. It's time to get rid of it.
Is it unhooked?
Yes,
So it's a matter of what now?
getting somebody to come in with a forklift and get it out of there.
Taking it to the junk man.
Yeah.
It's stainless steel, right?
And it's heavy. Greg and I looked at today, it's gonna take a forklift to get
Is
it
it in a
out.
place where a lift can get in and get it?
If we move the fire truck and the rescue,
Yeah, they just have to pull some
yeah,
things out.
yeah, we have to move some things around, but they could get in there and pick it up.
And how would you go about getting someone to do that?
I've got a couple people has asked about it. They're wanting to scrap it out, and I told them, right now it's
County property?
county, staying where it's at, and it's just.
Do you have any idea what it's worth? I mean,
No.
There's a limit on what we can and can't do.
I have no idea. I don't, I don't even know how much it weighs, probably. What do you think, 1,000 pounds?
Oh, that's not that much.
Probably somewhere between 800,000.
That's not that much, really.
I don't know
It's
what-
probably about $100.
Yeah, no, but and see what we have to do is declare it excess. The last stuff, we bid it out at, bid it off at Dixon's, that way the public has an opportunity.
Well, it says about $200 on scrap prices right
Same
now.
we did. I don't have a problem with it, you get rid of them, taking up space in that. Let's find out legally what we have to do. We'll ask the county attorney as far as
Okay.
the proper disposal. Because what I think we'll have to do is vote that, and we can maybe do that it's excess to our system. We can vote on that tonight, and then
Okay,
if he gives us the go-ahead that, the process, whatever, that we'll just follow that and get it out of there. There's no use in sitting there like.
yeah, because it hasn't worked for 3 years, roughly 3 years. In 2022, I took what money was in my budget for maintenance on it and had it fixed. A week later, it went back down, and the refrigeration guy said, it's gonna cost you more to fix it than what it's worth.
Well, I
So,
think the cooling system's bad and the hinges are shot.
yes, pretty much so.
That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Entertain a motion
I'll make a motion.
determine that's excess material that needs to be disposed of. I'll second it. All those in favor? Minutes of the meeting from 3/3/2025. Any changes, alterations, modifications?
Randy, I have a question. Can I ask a question about that last,
About
The
the
cooler?
minutes?
about the cooler?
Oh.
You talk about having to get with our lawyer.
Yes.
Where is the lawyer?
He comes in once a month to our meetings, as they've always had for years. He comes in on Mondays.
Just once a month?
Yes.
Mhm.
That's the way it's always been.
I haven't.
Minutes from 3/3/2025. Any changes, modifications? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve as
I made a motion.
We have a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor? Next item up, we have payroll for 3/14/2025 in the amount of $198,193.59.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Payroll withholding for the same time period, 3/14/2025 in the amount of $42,441.24.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Health claims in the amount of $54,678.73.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Perf claims in the amount of $729.03.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion and I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Accounts payable for the period of 3/18/2025 in the amount of $734,449.65.
I make a motion.
We have a motion. I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. For the period of 3/18/2025, solid waste AP claims in the amount of $11,209.07.
I make a motion.
I have a question on
Motion and
that.
a second. All those in favor? Aye.
I have a question on that one.
Please, Beth, we're trying to conduct our meeting, and that's our reason. We really don't take questions from the public as we go through this. We're trying to conduct business. If you'd like to stay after the meeting, I'd be more than happy to answer your question. Thank you. The next item up is we have a PCDC affidavit for payment, which is it's from the company that's doing the remedial work on one of the sites. We have a contract currently that was signed some time ago, and they have regularly sent us a bill. And it comes out of the bond appropriations of that project.
What is the amount on that, Randy? Do you know?
I brought it along over here.
It's, I think the contract is 200 and some thousand, and it's paid out.
Yeah, this one is just for $900. This one's 900.
900 even?
900 even. And Chris, how much do we have left on there? Does it say? I think that's in the document. I'm thinking we're about 75% through with that project.
I don't have that.
Okay, that's okay.
Oh,
With that stated, I entertain a motion to approve the PCDC affidavit as presented.
I make a motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting is Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 9 a.m. So I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You can get this.
Okay, now can I ask my question?
Sure.
The 11,000 that was on there for solid waste, what is that for?
The solid waste district requires some subsidies. In other words, you don't get enough money from the trash tags that are paid in order to pay for all the services and the recycling they do. So the county government set aside a portion of the money, just the county, to provide that service. And that's part of that fee or cost associated with operating.
Is that part of that 500,000 that was asked to budget for the solid waste?
No.
It's part of the budget process that was, but it's nowhere near 500,000.
100,000.
No, I mean, when the solid waste was disbanded, the solid waste office
Yes.
was disbanded. Their
The
budget
solid
was
waste
like,
district was dissolved.
yes. Their budget for this year was like 340-some thousand, but then after it was disbanded, I think it was asked for a $500,000 budget for solid waste.
The budget for 2024 was exactly what was asked for 2025,
Okay,
and then the county council cut it in half.
They did 277.
77, yeah.
277.
okay, so solid waste is 277,000.
Yeah.
It was cut in half from what they had in previous year.
Mhm.
That's what they approved.
one more question before we end the live. How do we get information from you guys?
What we do, we have a procedure, and this was initiated by a judge probably 2 or maybe 2.5 years ago, because people were coming into the clerk's office and demanding records that were personal as far as cases were concerned. The judge reached out to us and said, we need to implement a procedure that you follow in order to get any kind of documentation. And it was put into play. And that's what initiated the requirement for written requests.
For
Now,
information.
what we have to do is follow that, or we'll find ourselves in one case without a written request, it's handed out, In another case, a written request is required.
I've done that each time.
Okay, so with that said, when we get a request, then it is forwarded, if it follows the procedure, to the attorney. He interprets whether the request meets state standards. If it does not, then he contacts the individual and makes the suggestion of how it needs to be modified or what needs to be done.
I had
We
the
don't get
public
involved.
access attorney though, Randy. I had him on all of our correspondence. He literally said that if I don't know the date parameters, it's impossible to include it. So I have followed this to a T. The state is copied on, and so is my attorney, on every single thing. I'm about to bring a lawsuit against the county because I cannot get, and like tonight, I mean, you guys are seriously putting me in a bad position here because you told questions, but that 15 guy and Greg Hendershot, Warren Taylor, all in public comments, went back and forth asking me questions.
They were on the agenda.
Yeah, you might look at our agenda, they were all listed.
But
And
so are public comments.
it's a public comment, if you understand what public
So how do
comment.
I speak to you other than right this second?
If you would like to come back to our meeting, then you do just as though Greg did with this information that he provided us on our dialing system. And he brings the other associate with him. And then we have had a chance to talk about this and add the document.
We
And
need to
then
be
you can
prepared.
bring it up and we can put you on the agenda.
So
So,
like we had all of this prepared because you've got hundreds of people, voters, citizens, who have signed for PCDC. The contract is signed and you heard nothing. Like, how do we get that information to you? I feel like everything.
I mean, if you want to give it to us, we'll accept it. I mean, you could do that.
But the contract's already signed. with
Do you
RGL.
mean to hurt people's feelings? Do you know how much we worked on this? Like, probably as hard as you guys worked to make sure that
I
you
don't-
had their information before you had PCDC. If you pour your heart into something, which is what PCDC has done for a very long time, and it seems like everything that is targeted in this county, we can't talk to you about how anything feels. I mean, when I say, and I hope you know I'm serious, I will sue this county because I am done. I have got the same message from Andrew Foster on reasonable particularity. I have 3 signed affidavits from attorneys saying that's a bogus thing because they don't want to answer it. In court, reasonable particularity I didn't say whatever they could basically, it's just a thing. So my problem is, I understand that there is a lot of division in this county right now, but it seems as though one person, yourself, is making all of these decisions and you're not opening up to us to be like, hey, Randy, why?
First of all, Randy don't make all the decisions.
You started to answer my question about the contract.
No, I did not. I did
Becca,
not.
you are so, like, I just admire you and respect you.
We have 3 county commissioners that make the executive decisions for this county.
And Pam is, she's been in for 3 months and she answered me. I haven't gotten an answer from you guys in 2 years. That's crazy. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay, Megan, let me make this clear. First of all, I'm not an attorney. Okay, so I'm not going to make legal representations on how this works. When you sit in the audience and you state that you are going to file suit against the
I
county.
can't get information.
Excuse me, Megan, may I finish? Okay? You state you're going to file suit against the county.
Well, yeah, you're not talking to me anyway.
That makes a person a little apprehensive, and that's why requests are funneled to the county attorney to make sure that everything is done appropriately. That's all we're doing. So, like it or not, that's why we hire him, that's why we pay him. If he has done something in error, I guess the judicial group will determine that and the
Have you
chips
looked
will
up
be.
what happens if you keep public information from citizens?
We're not keeping any public
I'm just
information.
telling you, I don't want to do that. I just want to be able to know what you're doing because that's your job. You guys aren't in charge. Your citizens are in charge of what we want done in the community. You didn't get elected to further your agenda. You got elected to make sure everything is fluid. And you could do that. You're such an intelligent man. And everything is so divided at this point that I don't know how to say, okay, here's the problem. Randy, it's sick what is happening. And it could be just an email thread. I mean, I know personally there are a lot of emails not answered from other leaders. Like, this is crazy. Do you know what that'll come to? And it doesn't have to. That's why I'm saying this. But like, I asked you a question tonight about $96,000 of tax money that I pay, and you won't answer me. But you answered. I mean, I've seen you do it. I've seen you talk and banter with other people in public comments and answer their questions. And that just told me exactly what I need to know. I mean, we don't have to be this way. But all these people, they don't want RJO. And you didn't even ask. And I'm personally very offended by it. These people, Aaron, Emerson, Shiraz, they're local people. They are local people that we should care about, not a firm who is, I mean, these people probably drive Bentleys. Don't know that. Don't quote me. Just saying. But that's an issue here. We're shutting down an internal service. And I know you probably, I think I blocked you, sorry. But Facebook, a lot of people pour out all the time and they're like, why are they doing this? Why is PCDC not? And that is, and I'm not saying that you should worry about that, Chris, but like there are things happening right now that the public doesn't know about, and it's crazy. One person loses their job for something, another person does something 1,000 times worse, and it's not even talked about. Can you tell me how that's fair?
Facebook is a joke.
It's bad, I know.
It's a total, teetotal, 100% joke.
How do I talk to you? Other than, how am I supposed to do anything? Like, I know you're like, well, you're not a journalist, you're not a lawyer. No, but if you knew how many times my phone rings a day, and you know what I do, I help run your campaign. You know how my phone is. I don't ask for it, they call me. So, I mean, it's literal, every single person is like, okay, how do I do this? Well, I don't know because I can't do it. And if I email you or call you, there's no response. I mean, I'm telling you, and you're right. I mean, I did say that I would sue you, and I mean it. I do, because I have to be able to see what's happening to answer those questions that aren't being answered.
And what we do is provide the documentation to the attorney, and he's the guy that decides whether it's following the protocol.
Yeah, but that's not true either, because he doesn't have those documents. He didn't have the documents for the prosecutor's office built. There was no contract whenever I requested it. So saying he has the documents and information, he didn't. So anyway, we'll have to see, because I do have the dates and I do have the things that were done and not done. And I just wish, I guess this is me saying, I wish that we could just have a conversation about what's actually happening, because not so long ago, that was the problem. The people before would not answer questions, right? That's what I was told. That's why I got involved in the first place, because I don't believe that the government should run everything. But yet here we are. And so anyway, I'll stop taking up your evening. And I appreciate you talking to me.
No problem. Thank you.